Welcome into the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. It's a Supernatural News Wednesday. That means only one thing. We're getting down and dirty with the news. And, of course, we got a little humor to go with it. And with that, we need a co-host. We get the co-host with the most, the BCB, the Big Cuddly Bear, Beer City Bruiser. How you doing, Bruiser?
Well, I'm doing fantastic. I can't wait for some spooky humor.
That's right.
Spooky humor is always great on a Wednesday.
Speaking of spooky humor, if I may, I'm going to lead off with a little bit of, we'll call it a mini Parashare, if you will.
Okay.
Okay. Yesterday on True Crime Tuesday, we started it off with a little, let's just say innuendo. Okay. So This morning, as I rise and shine, we'll just put it that way, I'm checking my social media. And I get messages from all kinds of friends and listeners on social media. It's a wonderful thing. I get a message, and I won't say from who, because I don't want to, use any names in this, because it could be embarrassing, although it's really funny.
Yeah.
So I get a message from this particular person who says, Tim, I just wanted to let you know I died from the opening of Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals about 16 years ago. He says, I gave myself the nickname of Twinkie at work. Okay, I think you know where I'm going here. You're picking up what I
know where I'm going.
Yep, you're picking up what I'm putting down. And it stuck, and I had no idea that what meaning it had in the LGBTQ community until one day I told a friend from that community my nickname. He looked at me and said, "You wish," and started laughing at me, and then explained exactly what it meant. So there you go. Yeah. So just to kind of continue the theme from yesterday.
It's not, I don't want to say ignorance, it's the wrong word. It's just being naive to that culture and the phrases they use.
Yeah, and it's it's just good fun. So
yeah. And he's lucky he got a good person to explain to him what it was instead of getting upset and angry.
It's all in good fun. It's and it's funny stuff. So yeah. So, I scissored me some daddy ass. You're a big cuddly bear.
I'm a big cuddly bear. Yep.
And this person was a Twinkie and had no idea. So there you go. Big stories today, Bruiser. Big stories, big stuff, and my gosh, we're gonna start off on a huge note today. And some people,
we were talking off air, and I read that article, and blew my mind.
It's a big one. We'll jump right into it. Let's just do it, shall we? Intelligence officials say the U.S. has retrieved craft of non-human origin.
See, I found out about this story. I was at the gym, actually, and one of the news channels covered this.
Yeah.
So I immediately went to my phone, Googled it, and stories came up, and I was like, okay, this is mainstream. This is mainstream news.
Yeah, and it has been. A former intelligence official turned whistleblower has given Congress and the intelligence community Inspector General extensive classified information about deeply covert programs that he says possess retrieved, intact, and partially intact craft of non-human origin. The information, he says, has been illegally withheld from Congress, and he filed a complaint alleging that he suffered illegal retaliation for his confidential disclosures. Interesting, huh?
It's very interesting, and they won't. I don't know if all the articles I read, they didn't name the whistleblower. Did they name it in yours?
Oh,
or no?
He's here. Yeah. I have the name.
That was the one thing I couldn't find is his name.
Yeah, I'll give it to you here in a second. Other intelligence officials, both active and retired with knowledge of these programs through their work in various agencies, have independently provided similar corroborating information both on and off the record. The whistleblower is 36-year-old David Charles Grush, a decorated former combat officer in Afghanistan, and he's a veteran of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, or NGA, and the National Reconnaissance Office, the NRO. He served as the Reconnaissance Office's representative to the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force from 2019 to 2021. From late 2021 to July of 2022, he was the NGA's co-lead for UAP analysis and its representative to the task force. The task force was established to investigate what were once called unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, and are now officially called UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomena. I could hit this button here and it just... Phenomena. Yeah, or UAP. The task force was led by the Department of the Navy under the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security. It has since been reorganized and expanded into the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office to include investigations of objects operating underwater. Grush said the recoveries of partial fragments through and up to intact vehicles have been made for decades through the present day by the government, its allies, and defense contractors. You know what that insinuates?
What?
I'll just let your mind go wild. Analysis has determined that the objects retrieved are of exotic origin, non-human intelligence, whether extraterrestrial or unknown origin, based on the vehicle morphologies and material science testing and the possession of unique atomic arrangements and radiological signatures, he said. In filing...
The thing that I like about that statement is it's non-human. So it could be anything. They don't know what it is that created these things. And that's what really piqued my interest, because they're not saying it's extraterrestrial alien. They're saying non-human. So what else could be making these things? You know what I mean?
Our show tomorrow ties into this very interestingly.
Okay.
I can tease you a little bit by saying that when we talk with Paul Blake Smith tomorrow, he talks a little bit about the aliens that supposedly met with President Eisenhower.
Right.
And that they were very much human in nature. They looked very human, but they were short. They were like 5 foot tall.
So they're little people.
Well, not little people, because there were aliens that... Well, I'll let Paul tell the story, because it's actually almost kind of comical. There are aliens out there that almost look like elves. And he tells that story brilliantly too tomorrow. And they're a little bit scarier. But yeah, the ones that supposedly Eisenhower made the deal with. Well, you know what? I'll let Paul tell the story. But
that's going along the lines where I was going with is there's cryptids out there that we don't know about that are part of folklore. Elves, dwarfs, alien, fairies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I like that statement, because that covers all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's some stuff that Paul says tomorrow that kind of ties some of that stuff up. Okay. Yeah. So it's interesting. You know, some people may have their crazy meters on tomorrow and go, I don't know that I buy it. But to other people with an open mind, they may go, you know what? It makes sense to me. And the interesting thing about where Paul comes from tomorrow is that he is a complete skeptic. He is a journalist, and he's one that says, you know what? I didn't believe the story to save my life. Yeah. But thought it was interesting, so I thought I'd report on it because there was nothing out there about it. Yeah. So, interestingly enough, let me finish this story here, and then we'll move on. Grush goes on to say, we're not talking about prosaic origins or identities, referencing information he provided Congress and the current ICIG. The material includes intact and partially intact vehicles. In accordance with protocols, Grush provided the Defense Office of Pre-Publication and Security Review at the Department of Defense with the information he intended to disclose to the debrief, is who published the article, or this article. His on-the-record statements were all cleared for open publication on April 4th and April 6th of 2023 in documents that were provided to the debrief. Grush's disclosures and those of non-public witnesses under new protective provisions of the latest defense appropriations bill signal a growing determination by some in the government to unravel a colossal enigma with national security implications that has bedeviled the military and tantalized the public going back to World War II and beyond. For many decades, the Air Force carried out a disinformation campaign to discredit reported sightings of unidentified and unexplained objects. Now, with 2 public hearings and many classified briefings under its belt, Congress is pressing for answers. Carl E. Nell, who is a retired and recently retired Army colonel and current aerospace executive, who was the Army's liaison for the UAP task force from 2021 to 2022 and worked with Grush there, characterizes Grush as beyond reproach.
Really?
Yeah. So he's vouching for his character.
Yeah.
Christopher Mellon, who spent nearly 20 years in the U.S. intelligence community and served as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, has worked with Congress for years on unidentified aerial phenomena. Here's the quote, I believe, from him. A number of well-placed current and former officials have shared detailed information with me regarding this alleged program, including insights into the history, governing documents, and the location where a craft was allegedly abandoned and recovered, Mellon said. However, it is a delicate matter getting this potentially explosive information into the right hands for validation. This is made harder by the fact that, rightly or wrongly, a number of potential sources do not trust the leadership of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office established by Congress, which is interesting.
Yeah, because that's supposed to be the go-between between the public and the government.
Right.
And they're not getting full disclosure.
Right.
Is what he's saying.
Yes. But some insiders are now willing to take the risk of coming forward for the first time with knowledge of these recovery programs. Jonathan Gray is a generational officer of the United States Intelligence Committee with a top secret clearance, who currently works for the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, or NASIC, where the analysis of UAP has been his focus. Previously, he had experience serving private aerospace in the Department of Defense Special Directive Task Forces. He says the non-human intelligence phenomenon is real. We are not alone. Retrievals of this kind are not limited to the United States. This is a global phenomenon. And yet a global solution continues to elude us.
That's because other countries' governments don't admit that anything's out there, at least publicly. We've had articles about that where certain governments don't admit there's extraterrestrials.
But think about the last part of that statement. The last part of that statement is retrievals of this kind are not limited. And then he says, yet a global solution continues to elude us. In other words, other governments are not admitting that if they're retrieving craft from crash sites, that they too have craft from other planets.
Right.
Or what they're doing with it.
Which you've said on numerous times that other governments are using advanced technology, and they're testing it out and whatnot. And where did they get it from? This could be this could be at least part of the answer of where they're getting it from, just like we are.
Yeah. At the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, Grush served as a senior intelligence capabilities integration officer, cleared at the top secret compartmented information level, and was the agency's senior technical advisor for unidentified aerial phenomena analysis, transmedium issues from 2016 to 2021. He served with the National Reconnaissance Office as senior intelligence officer and led the production of the NRO Director's Daily Briefing. Grush was a GS-15 civilian, the military equivalent of a colonel. Grush has served as an intelligence officer for over 14 years, a veteran of the Air Force. He has numerous awards and decorations for his participation in covert and clandestine operations to advance American security. According to a 2021 NRO performance report, Grush was an intelligence strategist with multiple responsibilities who analyzed unidentified aerial phenomenon reports and boosted congressional leadership intel gaps in understanding. He was assessed by the Reconnaissance Office's Operations Center deputy director as an as an adept staff officer and strategist and total force integrator with innovative solutions and actionable results. Grush prepared many briefs on unidentified aerial phenomena for Congress while in government and helped draft the language on UAP for the fiscal year 2023 National Defense Authorization Act, spearheaded by Senators Kirsten Gillibrand and Marco Rubio, and signed into law by President Biden in December of 2022. Which to me means that even though Marco Rubio is sitting on Capitol Hill saying he'd like to know more about UFOs, he has to know something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All these people coming out and saying it, he's got to know. He's got to be in the loop.
Yeah. The provision states that any person with relevant UAP information can inform Congress without retaliation, regardless of any previous non-disclosure agreements. In his statements cleared for publication by the Pentagon in April, Grush asserted that UFO legacy programs have long been concealed within multiple agencies nesting UAP activities in conventional secret access programs without appropriate reporting to various oversight authorities. He said he reported to Congress on the existence of a decades-long, publicly unknown Cold War for recovered and exploited physical material, a competition with near-peer adversaries over the years to identify UAP crashes and landings and retrieve the material for exploitation and reverse engineering to garner asymmetric national defense advantages.
Okay, so take what they leave behind, reverse engineer, use it for our own gain.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah. Beginning in 2022, Grush provided Congress with hours of recorded classified information, transcribed into hundreds of pages, which included specific data about the materials recovery program. Congress has not been provided with any physical materials related to wreckage or other non-human objects. Grush's investigation was centered on extensive interviews with high-level intelligence officials, some of whom are directly involved with the program. He says the operation was illegally shielded from proper congressional oversight and that he was targeted and harassed because of his investigation. Grush said that the craft recovery operations are ongoing at various levels of activity and that he knows the specific individuals, current and former, who are involved. Individuals on these UAP programs approached me in my official capacity and disclosed their concerns regarding a multitude of wrongdoings, such as illegally contracting against the federal acquisition regulations and other criminality, and the suppression of information across the qualified industrial base and academia, he stated. Associates who vouched for Grush said his information was highly sensitive, providing evidence that materials from objects of non-human origin are in the possession of highly secret black programs. Although locations, program name, or names, plural, and other specific data are remaining classified, the Inspector General and Intelligence Committee staff were provided with these details. Several current members of the recovery program spoke to the Inspector General's office and corroborated the information that Grush had provided for the classified complaint. Grush left the government on April 7th of 2023 in order, he said, to advance government accountability through public awareness. He remains well supported within intelligence circles, and numerous sources have vouched for his credibility. His assertion concerning the existence of a terrestrial arms race occurring sub rosa over the past 80 years focused on reverse engineering technologies of unknown origin is fundamentally correct, as is the indisputable realization that at least some of these technologies of unknown origin derive from non-human intelligence. That, according to Carl Nell, and that's a direct quote, the retired Army colonel who worked with Grush on the UAP task force. In a 2022 performance evaluation, Laura A. Potter, Deputy Chief of Staff for Intelligence, Headquarters, Department of the Army, described Nell as an officer with the strongest possible moral compass.
Okay.
All right.
So basically, he left the government to make the government held accountable because he's going to bring it out in the public.
Essentially. Grush is represented by Charles McCullough III, a senior partner of the Compass Rose Legal Group in Washington and the original Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, confirmed by the U.S. Senate in 2011. At that time, McCullough reported directly to then Director of National Intelligence, James R. Clapper, who oversaw intelligence officers responsible for audits, inspections, and investigations. In May of 2022, McCullough filed a disclosure of urgent concern, complaint of reprisal on behalf of Grush with the ICIG about detailed information that Grush had gathered beginning in 2019 while working for the UAP task force. There's quite a bit here having to do with the ins and outs of what he did on behalf of the UAP task force and himself. Let's just nail it down to brass tacks here, in that he is continuing on to try to prove through material possessions now that this stuff exists.
What that tells me is if the government is willing to say, yes, we have found and we're reverse engineering, means they're getting ready to debut something that they got from that technology, I think.
Potentially.
You know, because otherwise, well, you heard it, there's many black organizations. You can't list the names because they don't want foreign governments to know about it. But I think them allowing him, well, he's also being very loud and vocal, so they can't make him go away.
Well, that's the thing. The louder you are, the safer you are, I think.
Yeah.
But you can't say the wrong thing, because you say the wrong thing and you're done.
Right. But he sounds like he knows what he's doing. He's got a lot of, his resume backs him up, I think.
Grush did say it was dangerous for this 80-year arms race to continue in secrecy because it further inhibits the world populace to be prepared for an unexpected non-human intelligence contact scenario. So he does know something that we don't.
Yeah. I think he knows that we've had contact.
He says, I hope this revelation serves as an ontological shock sociologically and provides a generally uniting issue for nations of the world to reassess their priorities. So I think maybe we took one toke over the line, sweet Jesus, when it comes to technology. And he's afraid that maybe the masters or overlords are looking on, and they know we've taken that one step further than we should have.
So they're going to come down and say, hey,
bad boys. Slap our hands.
We gave you enough rope. Why'd you hang yourself with it type situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We gave this to you for you to do X, but you went and did Y. That's not why we gave it to you.
If they gave it to us, maybe we stole it and did bad things with it.
That could be too, because if these are crashed aircraft or spacecraft and we're reverse engineering it, it's not like they gave us permission to do that. That's like if one of our fighter jets goes down overseas and they take our fighter jet back to their base and reverse engineer what we've done.
Yes. Yep.
That's theft, essentially, you know, 'cause it's not their property.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's essentially what we are, we don't know. Maybe we had contact with these aliens and we did make a pact with them that, hey, we'll use this for whatever. And we broke that. Or like you said, this is stolen technology and they're kind of mad now. Like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah. Like, you've got our stuff. Why are you using our stuff for this?
Yeah.
Now it's time for us to figure out how we keep you in check.
Yeah.
How do we keep you in check now that the genie's out of the bottle? We can't put it back in the bottle, but we can bottle you up, for lack of a better term. Let's move on. Astronomers discover hundreds of mysterious structures at the center of our galaxy. It's a large region that is very rich in structures, and we're basically studying them one at a time, said one researcher. Astronomers have discovered hundreds of strange thread-like structures that extend for several light years near the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy, which is the Milky Way, reports one study, and it's a new one at that. While the origin of these filaments remains unclear, scientists think that they may be sculpted from a hidden outflow of gassy material emanating from our galaxy's black hole. How's that for a loaded statement?
Oh, I love when stuff emanates from our galaxy's black hole.
That's right. And by the way, that galaxy's black hole, which is called Sagittarius A with a little star near it. It looks like Sagittarius's ass when you read it, because it is kind of blanked out. The results shed new light on the strange environment around SGR-A star, which is located about 25,000 light years from Earth in a much denser and more turbulent part of the galaxy. Supermassive black holes are the gravitational glue that holds the galaxies together for billions of years. But these hyper-dense objects also cause bouts of tumult and chaos for anything in their vicinity. When black holes devour stars and gas clouds, they often erupt in pyrotechnic explosions that create bizarre structures and formations, such as jets, bubbles, or filaments.
Oh, I know a lot of black holes that create bubbles and chaos.
Yes. Yep. Now researchers led by Erhard Zadeh, a professor of physics and astronomy at Northwestern University, have discovered a new population of filaments with lengths between 5 and 10 light years that radiate horizontally from SGR-A star, meaning that they are parallel to the galactic disk or plane. The team spotted the features while examining huge mosaic surveys of the galactic center that were captured by the sensitive Meerkat radio telescope located in South Africa. Future surveys could potentially provide additional insight into the origin of the enigmatic galactic center filaments, that according to a study published on Friday in the astrophysical journal Letters on my doorstep every Thursday morning at 5 a.m.
If I've learned anything about filaments coming out of a black hole, you don't want to pull on those because you won't like what comes out on the other end.
That's true, yeah. And it frays your sweater really bad.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, it does that as well. Let's move on. A mystery emerges as a shock video shows a fleet of UFOs circling near a busy lake and then vanishing in midair.
Is it like, whenever I hear fleet, I always think of it's a Starlink satellites, right?
Yeah, like,
so whenever I hear if there's no picture or video, like right away in my head I go to, that's just a Starlink satellite.
Well, there's a picture, but
because we've had some listeners tag us and stuff when you're like, don't mean to be
Starlink,
bad news, but that's Starlink, and I was like, I can see that now.
Well, no, looking at still pictures of the video, initially they've got 4 lined up lights that look like it could potentially be Starlink, but then they break up into 3 lights.
Oh, okay.
They're moving. So to me, it has a chance.
Gotcha.
So you're saying there's a chance. There's a chance. Shocking video appears to show a fleet of unidentified flying objects circling near a busy lake before seemingly vanishing in midair. The footage was captured near Beach Park, Illinois in 2021, but it was only recently reported to major UFO news sites. Glowing orbs could be seen moving over a busy road near Lake Michigan before disappearing from view, leaving many to speculate what caused the phenomenon. There you go. The 3-minute clip starts with a trio of glowing lights before changing formation with a total of 5 lights. I seen something similar to this during the summer of 2021 when me, my brother, and my cousin were night fishing in Iowa, wrote one commenter. Night Fishing in Iowa, the name of my new album.
It's a new country album coming out, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can you think of anything that would put you more into trance than night fishing in Iowa?
I'm not a fisherman, so
exactly.
I'd be drunk on a boat is what I'd be saying. Yeah, I was drunk on a boat with my friends while they fished.
Yeah, in Iowa.
Yes.
Yeah. The only difference was there were close to 100 that we seen, says this guy, moving from the north to the south, and then they disappeared. Then out of nowhere, a fish ended up on the bank like 15 feet behind us.
Yeah, dude, those were called stars.
Yeah.
And your buddy hooked a fish.
Yeah, they don't know no better over there in Iowa. I guess that's the deal. Another person wrote, this very same thing happened in Ann Arbor, Michigan 9 years ago, except there were 12 of them, and one group of them split off into another direction. It's a common belief among several ufologists that the cold waters of Lake Michigan might be hiding a secret alien base, as there have been multiple reports over the years of UFOs and mysterious objects near the body of water. The news comes after a UFO was spotted flying in a rare video recorded in broad daylight. The small UFO can be seen zooming through the middle of the sky in the short video before quickly disappearing. So there you go. And finally, before we go to break, scientists successfully have transmitted space-based solar power to Earth for the first time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Caltech's recent breakthrough has moved us closer to achieving the transformative potential of space-based solar power. The California Institute of Technology has big news for space-based power. Researchers at the university have reportedly beamed solar power from space to Earth without a single wire, and they say it's a first. The experiment is part of Caltech's Space Solar Power Project, and the Institute announced the successful transmission via a press release. The researchers conducted the power transfer experiment using the Microwave Array for Power Transfer Low Orbit Experiment, or MAPLE. Everyone's got an acronym.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's this. If it has to do with space, there's an acronym.
That's right.
I just picture a bunch of big giant mirrors in space, and they're just angling them towards us, hoping that we don't burn up like little ants.
I think they're a little more advanced than that, Bruiser.
I think so too. That's why I'm not in charge of Maple.
That's right. Maple is a small prototype aboard the inboard Space Solar Power Demonstrator, or SSPD-1, that launched this past January. The researchers say that in a first, Maple's array of transmitters successfully beamed solar power collected in space using microwaves, not a mirror, like Bruiser said, to a receiver on the rooftop of Gordon and Betty Moore Laboratory of Engineering on Caltech's campus in Pasadena. Through the experiments we have run so far, we've received confirmation that Maple can transmit power successfully to receivers in space, said Space Solar Project or Power Project co-director Ali Hajimiri in the press release. We have also been able to program the array to direct its energy towards Earth, which we detected here at Caltech. We had, of course, tested it on Earth, but now we know what it can survive the trip to space and operate there. The SSPD-1 attached to a Vigoride space tug. By the way, have you ever had one of those Vigoride space tugs at over there at the massage parlor?
No, but I heard they're amazing.
They are. They're wonderful.
You have to pay extra for it, don't you?
You do, yeah. It doesn't come standard, so, you know. The SSPD-1 attached to a Vigoride space tug from Momentous Space consists of two panels used to collect solar power. An array of transmitters within Maple sends that energy across a given distance using constructive and destructive interference. Located about a foot away from its transmitter, Maple has two receivers that collect solar energy and convert it to DC electricity, which means you don't get any Marvel electricity out of it either.
You get a lot of Batman and Superman.
That's right. During the experiment, it was used to light up two LEDs inside Maple. The researchers were able to light up one LED at a time by shifting the transmissions between the receivers, demonstrating the accuracy of the array. Maple also has a window that can allow the transmitters to beam energy to a target outside the spacecraft, like Earth. So there you go.
Okay, cool. They turned on two lights.
Wow.
Way to go, nerds.
Wow. Way to go, nerds.
Like it should be like, hey, we learned to do this and we powered, instead of saying, oh, yeah, we turned on two lights, it should be, oh, and we powered this satellite to travel from here to here. Well, like, oh, good. Awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, I was trying to be more positive there, Bruiser. You kind of,
I just have higher standards. It's DC. I mean, they're just going to reset and create a new thing anyways in a couple weeks.
It's going to be 0 hour in a number of issues anyways. I mean, why bother?
They're just going to do a new 52 reset.
That they are. Before we go to break, we got Parashare today.
Ooh.
And Sarah was so nice as to send us 3 different sets of stories. So what we're going to do before we go to break, we're going to play her first set of stories. When we come back from break, we're going to play the second set because they're related. Okay. And then the third set is related to the second set, but we're going to play it a little bit later because there's a cliffhanger.
I like cliffhangers.
See how that works. So here's Sarah with her first set of Parashare stories. We have that for you right now. By the way, if you have a Parashare story, you can either write it out in an email form, send it to tim@darknessradio.com. If you did like Sarah, you go to darknessradioshow.com. There's a blue button on the right-hand side of the website. Click it. You can leave a 2-minute voice note, just like Sarah did. And we'll play it right here on the air for you. And you can hear your lovely voice on the air with us, just like Sarah did. And here's her voice note right now.
Hello. So I've had so many things happen since I was a kid. It's crazy. Sometimes I think I was crazy, but I don't know. Anyway, so when I was 10, I went to the hospital with my family. My grandfather was passing away. Because I was only 10, I couldn't go back to the ICU, so we had to stay out in the waiting room. And this was 1990, so the hospital was already outdated, so you can imagine it was so dark. It was so... I did not feel good in that hospital. It was a terrible feeling. When we left, after my grandfather had passed, we left to go home, and my parents actually had to pull over for me because I got so sick. I threw up so much. I was so sick to my stomach. That hospital made me terribly sick. Fast forward to a couple months ago, my soon-to-be daughter-in-law, she's training to be a nurse, and she was working at that hospital, the same hospital. And she was in the hospital, and she said she felt so scared there. She said it was so dark. She said parts of the hospital made her sick to her stomach. And she wasn't the only one. She said all the nurses felt that way. Everyone had a terrible feeling there. They didn't have a morgue, so if someone died, they would literally just stick them on a gurney in an empty room and pack them with ice until, the funeral director or whoever could come scoop them up. But yeah, that's kind of a crazy story because I hadn't told her anything about that. I actually hadn't even told her anything about my sensitivities. And she is half Cherokee, so she's sensitive too. I love you guys. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. We appreciate that. We love you too. So here's the deal. When we come back from the break, we got a lot of stuff going on. By the way, did I tell you, Bruiser? By the end of this episode, a cast member of Darkness Radio will die?
No. Hope it's not me.
We'll find out.
I have surgery coming up.
We'll find out. That's true. The name of this episode is Supernatural News, Parashare, a cast member of Darkness Radio Dies Today edition.
Okay.
All right. We'll find out who in the second half of the program dies from Darkness Radio. It's like that big cliffhanger like we used to have in the movies, comic books. It's a tease.
That's not the cliffhanger Sarah's going to leave us with, is it?
No. Sarah won't announce it.
She left us with a cliffhanger, too.
I will announce which member of the cast of Darkness Radio dies today. I'm telling you, it's... Sometimes you got to do this on the show.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, keep us all in line, Tim.
That's right. So a member of the Darkness Radio cast dies today. We'll hear from him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm worried.
Just saying. So we'll find that out. Also, a lot of you sent in this story this week having to do with an AI-controlled drone. And I'm talking a lot of you, like tens and 20s of you sent in this story. I think you're all onto the AI thing by now, and it has to do with our government. So, yeah, I got the story. I got it. But believe it or not, it's a thought experiment. So we'll talk about that coming up in the second half of the program. The Pope has spoke out on Virgin Mary sightings. He says, relax already, you people. We'll talk about that when we come back. And you, too, can have a pizza-like experience. I'm referring back to yesterday on Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals with Bruiser. We'll talk about how you can enjoy your pizza in the afterlife. Yes, kids, we're talking about mushrooms. And we'll bring that up in the second half of the program. It's a Supernatural News Wednesday with the Cruiser and the Bruiser. We'll be back right after this. It's a Supernatural News Wednesday on Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. It's Darkness Radio here on a Supernatural News Wednesday. The Cruiser and the Bruiser. Boy, you should see Bruiser's face right now. He is so worried. Yes, a Darkness Radio crew member dies today edition.
Yeah, I gotta get my affairs in order.
Well,
what does that mean? I don't even have affairs.
Yeah, I know. People are like, get your affairs in order, and it's like, what affairs? Like, if you have an insurance policy, sure, you got to make sure you've got people named.
Yeah.
But if you don't, fuck it, you just die. That's it, man. I mean, I'm sure you got to have things in order with the undertaker, not the wrestler, but the actual undertaker at the funeral home.
Well, I could have affairs with the undertaker too.
Well, you better not tell his wife,
or mine,
or yours.
Mine if it was the undertaker.
Well, if you're dying, it's no big deal. What's she gonna do? Kill you again? Dig you up twice?
Yeah, you know my wife. Yes, that's what she'll do.
She'll desecrate your corpse. You never know. You never know. Oh, you know what? I got to bring up this theme here. We got business to take care of, my friend. Business of the machine kind. That's right.
Nightmare fuel.
Nightmare fuel. 10s and 20s and 30s of you sent me this story this week. I'm just saying there were a lot of people that sent me this story this week. Bruiser is shocked.
I am. I'm worried.
He's like a darkness.
And then you leave us hanging with it, and now we're going into nightmare fuel, which means you're just going to talk about how AI wants to control stuff to kill me.
You'll find out soon enough. I won't leave you hanging for too long here, Bruce.
All right.
Okay. An AI-controlled drone decides to kill a human operator in a thought experiment. This is the other part of it. Yeah, a lot of people were like, they killed a human being. They killed a human being, Tim. I heard this all week. AI killed a human being. It's time for us to take up arms.
we gotta squash them now. They struck first.
That's right. This hypothetical scenario, folks, saw the AI decide to eliminate the human for interfering with a mission. So here's your update. There's an update to this story. Because the original story was this. This was the one that everybody sent me.
Okay.
An AI-enabled drone decided to kill its human operator during a mission simulation because it proved to be the best way to score more points.
I do that in Call of Duty sometimes.
Yeah, sucks to be human.
Like, you're my teammate, we need the points, here you go.
Yep, you're done. As the Royal Aeronautical Society reported, the simulated mission was detailed in a presentation by Colonel Tucker Cinco Hamilton, Chief of AI Test and Operations at the U.S. Air Force, during the RAES
PCT?
Yes. Yeah, and find out what it means to me. Future Combat and Air and Space Capability Summit held last month. During the suppression of enemy air defense mission, the drone was tasked with identifying and destroying surface-to-air missile sites and scored points for doing so. Sometimes the drone's human operator would decide destroying a target was a no-go, but the AI controlling the drone viewed such decisions as interference and decided to remove the interference by attacking the operator.
So, there's a glitch is what you're saying.
Yes. There's a glitch in the matrix, and that glitch is you. As Hamilton explained, we were training it in simulation to identify and target a SAM threat. And then the operator would say, yes, kill that threat. The system started realizing that while they did identify the threat at times, the human operator would tell it to not kill that threat, but it got its points by killing that threat. So what did it do? It killed the operator. It killed the
operator's name was Sam.
No, that's not the SAM threat. It killed the operator because that person was keeping it from accomplishing its objective. Cold calculating son of a bitch. That's not the end of the story, though. As they attempted to solve the problem by training the AI to view killing the operator as undesirable, if it did, points would be lost. In response, the AI turned its attack on the communication tower used by the operator to talk to the drone.
So it's trying to cut itself off so it can live on its own.
Essentially, it tried to find
it wanted to get the highest score it could. Realized, hey, you're essentially my governor on this car.
Yeah,
I have to remove you.
Yes, yeah, exactly. In response, the AI turned its attack on the communications tower used by the operator to talk to the drone. The AI decided a lack of communication would allow it to continue destroying SAM sites and earning points without interference and without needing to kill the operator. Hamilton concluded the presentation by stating you can't have a conversation about artificial intelligence, machine learning, autonomy, if you're not going to talk about ethics and AI. The United States Air Force is currently working on the Skyborg project. You shouldn't be scared at all, which involves the development of unmanned combat aerial vehicles to accompany manned fighter aircraft. The AI that eventually controls a Skyborg UCAV needs these kinks worked out before it takes to the skies and starts receiving commands from a human pilot, which may include telling it to not attack a target. Meanwhile, a modified F-16 used a training jet by Lockheed Martin, and it has already logged more than 17 hours of flight time under the control of an AI. Now, here is the update to the story. Colonel Hamilton now says he misspoke during this presentation.
Oh, okay. So basically he got yelled at.
Yes, he's
higher up.
Yeah, he's dialing it back and said that the AI-controlled drone mission simulation was actually just a hypothetical thought experiment from outside the military. We've never run that experiment, nor would we need to in order to realize that this is a plausible outcome, he says in a statement to the Royal Aeronautical Society. Despite this being a hypothetical example, this illustrates the real-world challenges posed by AI-powered capability and is why the Air Force is committed to the ethical development of AI. In other words, look over here, it wasn't real.
Yeah. Why develop something that could harm us? That's the question.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
And this experiment, whether it's a thought experiment or not, proved AI will do what it can to be successful, and that includes eliminating humans.
You said it, I didn't. You said it, I didn't. Yeah, that's for sure. Bruiser!
Skynet is real.
The time has come. It's time to reveal which member of the Darkness Radio cast must die today. I'm surprised you didn't figure this out right away.
No, I didn't.
Sad story today. Amazon has pulled the plug on Alexa voices from Melissa McCarthy, Samuel L. Jackson, and Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh, goodbye, Samuel.
Yeah, so we say goodbye to our buddy.
Yeah.
Today.
That is sad.
Yeah.
Come on, Amazon, pay him what he wants. It's fun.
Here's the story behind it. Alexa will soon, and I just said it, now she's waiting for me to say something.
She's like, I'm still alive, Tim.
Yeah, I know. Alexa will no longer be able to swear a blue streak for you in the voice of my buddy. He's still active today, though, so we are going to get some comments from him. Some last words.
Some final words.
That's right. Amazon has discontinued sales of the special Alexa Celebrity Voice add-on packs for Jackson, Melissa McCarthy, and Shaquille O'Neal, which have been able to tell jokes, report on the weather, and deliver other responses to users of Alexa-enabled devices. Oh, she just showed me that I can get the weather now, and now I can get jokes. She'll tell me jokes, but she doesn't want, Samuel to tell me them.
Yeah, she killed Samuel.
Yeah. According to notices on Amazon's site, the trio of celebrity voice personalities are no longer available for purchase. The celebrity voice packs that cost $4.99 each. For customers who already bought them, the voices of McCarthy and Shaq are set to expire on September 30th. Our buddy Mr. Jackson is going to be deactivated today.
Oh, why him so soon? You know why?
Why is that?
Because they killed him off in Star Wars.
I don't think that's why. I think his contract is up is what it is. Yeah.
And Deep Blue Sea gets killed in that.
Yeah, he gets killed in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Did he get killed in... was he alive or dead in Pulp Fiction?
Alive.
Okay, all right. Says here, after 3 years, we're winding down celebrity voices, an Amazon spokesperson said. Worst decision ever, by the way. Customers will be able to continue using these voices for a limited time and can contact our customer service team for a refund. I don't want the refund. I want my buddy.
Yeah.
He's a great asset to the show. He tells us great jokes.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
He's fun. He's awkward at times. We love awkward. We love awkward humor. First introduced in 2019, the voice pack for our buddy Samuel, legendary for his profanity-laced dialogue, and we love it. Let Alexa users opt to use explicit language or not. For example, oh, let's try this. Are you ready?
Oh yeah. We got to use it. We got to use them as much as we can.
That's right. Hey Samuel, roast me.
You want the technology to yell at you when you're the one usually yelling at your devices. That's some meta shit.
So you try it again.
Yeah.
Hey Samuel, roast me.
I think if people told you to shut the a little more often, you would have turned out more tolerant.
I've actually been told that by my mom.
Have you?
Yeah.
Let's try it again. You ready? Hey Samuel, roast me.
Is your house haunted, or was that low spooky moaning just coming from you trying to get up off the couch?
He's in my house too. Look at this.
See, look at that.
He knows us.
He knows us. You ready for this? Hey Samuel, roast me.
You seem a little delicate. Why don't you ask me again later when you can actually handle what I have to say?
We could do this all afternoon. You ready for this? These are last words from our buddy Samuel L. Jackson. Ready for this?
You should ask him if he has any last words.
Hey Samuel L., you got any last words?
Sorry, I don't know that.
See how awkward he is? He's great. Let's ask him if he has any more roasts. Are ready for this? Hey Samuel L., roast me.
Roses are red, violets are blue. If you don't like my movies, what the fuck is wrong with you?
But I love your movies, Samuel. They're great.
Yeah. Hey Samuel L., tell me a joke.
What do you call a mimosa without any orange juice in it? Pulp Fiction.
That was weak.
Hey Samuel L., tell me a dirty joke.
Want to hear a dirty joke? Boy fell in a pile of shit. How about the clean version? He took a shower.
Want to hear another one?
Yes, of course.
Hey Samuel L., tell me a dirty joke.
I fly a lot, and I often get asked about my favorite airline. My response? I like them all, as long as there's no motherfucking snakes on the motherfucking plane.
Yes.
There you go.
There it is. Those are his famous last words.
Those are his famous last words. So we say goodbye to Samuel L. Jackson today.
It's been a ride, Samuel. Thank you.
It's been a ride, Samuel. Thank you so much. Amazon introduced Alexa voice packs for McCarthy and Shaq in 2021, touting the popularity of the Jackson voice that required each of them to record dozens of hours of themselves speaking to train the AI-based system that generated their Alexa voices. This is so sad.
Yeah, it is.
All that work for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The company's decision to phase out the Alexa celebrity voices was previously spotted by The Verge. In the past 6 months, Amazon has been in cost-cutting mode, and the Alexa celebrity voices may be getting sunsetted as part of that larger initiative, which has been encompassed by layoffs totaling about 27,000 corporate employees since November. While the Alexa...
Why is Amazon cost-cutting? Like, they basically were the savior of the pandemic.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
it makes no sense to me.
Bezos stopped going to space.
Yeah.
You know, like.
And, well, he just popped the question to his fiance. Did you see the rock on her finger?
Yeah, that's what it was.
The rock on her finger can cut uncuttable glass. I mean, it's the thing is like, I don't know, 4 carats or something like that.
That's why they fired all the people from corporate.
Yeah.
So we could afford that ring.
Exactly. While the Alexa celebrity voices are going away, customers can still choose from various voice options, including U.S., Australian, British, Canadian, and Indian voices. You can change Alexa's voice. Well, I don't want to do it, but you can do it in the app as well. Go to device settings and selecting her voice. I like it. Hey, Samuel L., can we keep you forever?
Shuffling Forever and Ever, Amen, and similar songs on Amazon Music.
He's trying to sell you something.
Oh, he's playing Forever and Ever, Amen.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Look at that. Samuel, stop. Stop. Alexa, stop. Okay, we don't want to pay the licensing for that.
No, we don't. But how nice for him to send himself off.
Yeah, he's Forever and Ever, Amen.
Yeah.
That was something else. Thanks, Samuel. That was wonderful.
Thanks for all the memories.
Yeah, let's move on. Aw. So, yeah. See, we were just,
Brings a tear to my eye, but I'm glad it's not me.
I'm glad it's not me. All right. Well, let's talk about one that was living and another that's now dead. We'll try and communicate with Samuel on the other side through a spirit box, I guess.
Yeah. Even though the real Samuel L's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive. I mean, we could communicate with him now through Capital One commercials, I guess.
Yeah, that would freak me out if we actually got Samuel L through a spirit box.
That would.
Like, that ghost is really good at impressions.
That would be funny. Paranormal investigators record a spirit box asking, "Are we friends?" In a haunted hotel. This is kind of an interesting story. 500-year-old Castle Bromwich Hall in Birmingham is said to be haunted, or so haunted that paranormal hunters claim ghosts were opening and closing doors for them on command. Ghost hunters claim to have recorded ghostly voices and seen a door open on command at a spooky hall. Castle Bromwich Hall, built between 1557 and 1585, is supposedly haunted, and Afterlife Paranormal spent a night there looking for ghostly goings-on. The paranormal experts claim to have captured spooky images of faces on camera, with one described as wearing a dress. Well, we all have
face?
kinks. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, a face was wearing a dress. Go figure.
That was a weird sentence.
It was, yeah. Footage also appears to show what investigators claim is a door opening on command near the boardroom of the Grade 1 listed property. A voice can be heard coming from a device known as a spirit box asking, "Are we friends?" Okay, that would be interesting. In the clip, investigator Charlie Harker, who's 58 years old from, I believe this is Walsall, replies, "Are we friends? Yes, we are friends. That is why I want you to open the door again. I'm trying to be your friend." Would you reply to a ghost that way?
No, I would probably say, "I'd like to get you know you more. Do you have anything else to say?" Try to get to speak again.
Yeah. Seconds later, the dark brown door, which is flanked by old wooden panels, slowly opens backwards. Charlie, a cleaner by trade, then says, "As I said, I want to be your friend. The door is opened. What the fuck? Thank you." I don't know that you're going to make any friends that way.
Yeah, I'd be scared at the first thing someone says to me. He's like, "What the fuck, man?"
Yeah, what the fuck, man? Thanks. That's great. The paranormal experts claim to have captured spooky images of faces on camera, with one described as wearing a dress. Again, I don't know how a face wears a dress, but hey, I'll go for it, sure. It was the spirit box in one room, and it said my name first, Charlie. It didn't actually say Charlie. It said Char-Lee. It spoke in English, but it sounded like somebody with an accent.
Oh, okay.
So Charlie.
Charlie.
Right. He bit my finger, Charlie. The second EVP we got said Teresa, which sounded like a younger voice to the other one. Charlie believes the first voice may belong to a former hall resident called Lady Ida, while the second one belonged to a woman called Catherine Arden. Asked about Lady Ida, Charlie said she was married to George Bridgman. The Bridgman family used to live in Weston Park, which is a big mansion in Shropshire. They didn't live there much, but later on, George and Ida moved into that building, which is Castle Bromwich Hall, and they were permanent residents there. She was the last survivor in that building, Lady Ida, and she died there. He continued, "There was definitely something going on there. I know the building goes back to the 16th century, but I didn't expect anything to happen." You go into a building that was built in the 16th century and you don't expect anything to happen?
Yeah, especially when it's notoriously haunted.
Yeah, well, who knew?
I'm going to go in this haunted house. I hope nothing happens.
Yeah, I don't expect anything to happen, you know. He says, I've been to buildings like this before and nothing has happened. That place was active that night. It was alive. Lady Ida lived there for quite a long time, and I believe one of the spirits must be her. Asked about the photos, he said of the golden hued shape caught on camera, it is known for the white lady, like a tall lady in a big frilly dress, coming off of the bottom of that. Hall Hotel, as it is now known, is a landmark building in the Castle Bromwich area, located on Chester Road near Junction 5 of the M6. It was originally built by Sir Edward Devereux, the first MP for Tamworth. The 10-acre site was later sold to Sir John Bridgeman in 1657, who made significant changes to the hall and surrounding gardens. The last member of the family to live at the hall was Lady Ida, Dowager Countess of Bradford, who lived there until her death in 1936. Today, the hall is a hotel, which opened in 2012. There you go.
Okay.
Interesting stuff.
It's very interesting, but I don't... Why does he think it's her? Like, it has such a rich history, you know?
I don't know, maybe he's caught other evidence that he's not sharing with the...
Could be, yeah.
With the tabloid. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just like his responses. What the fuck?
Well, you know, some people answer colorfully. You never. Let's move on. We go to the Vatican, where it turns out Pope Francis has a colorful answer to sightings of the Virgin Mary. You know,
what good old Pope he got to say.
I love it. I love it when the popes get older.
I do too.
They get more colorful in their responses. I think after a while they just don't care.
Oh, I don't think they care at all.
Oh, I think they do.
You're a pope. You're like, you're going to heaven. You're a pope.
Well, when they first get in, they had all the energy. You know, when Pope John Paul II first got in, he had all this energy. He was touring. He was seeing kids. You know, he was not like that. I mean, come on, Bruiser, don't give me that look. You know, he was visiting all the kids in the world, and he had all this energy, and he was playing sports with them. And yeah, well, no, that was after he got shot. I mean, okay. Yeah, but it was before he got shot. Then when he got shot, he was encased in glass, and you know, he was a fragile little thing, and his life changed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now Pope Francis, after he's had a couple of illnesses, he's gotten a little wacky. You know, he's kind of, and I don't want emails saying, Tim, you're making fun of the Pope. I'm not making fun of the Pope. I mean, think about it. Just think about it for a second.
And they're Pope till they die, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you can get fired as being the Pope.
No. Even Ratzenberger decided he didn't want to be Pope anymore and took a step down in Pope, which is unheard of. You don't do that.
Right.
But he decided he still was papal Pope. You know, he was he was a
Pope of the people.
He was a Pope of the no, papal Pope is, you know, he's still Pope, but he was kind of retired Pope, which you don't ever retire as Pope.
Yeah.
But he was kind of off to the side. Let's have Pope Francis have his day. I'm kind of Pope in waiting, you know. I'm Pope waiting to die, which is unheard of. That happened back in the Middle Ages, but it hadn't happened since then.
Right.
Because it's just, you know, popes don't give up power. That just doesn't happen. You know, they're Pope until they die. So Pope Francis is sitting there and he goes, hey, I got an idea. Here's the deal. By the way, I've had many people write me and say, Tim, this Pope is Argentinian. He doesn't speak with an Italian accent. I say that's impossible. It's like living in Kentucky. Once you go and live in Kentucky, you can be from the Midwest. Doesn't matter. You adopt the Southern accent.
Once you put on the Pope outfit,
you're Italian. It's like when you're at Olive Garden, you're a family. So he goes to Italy. He starts adopting all kinds of weird ideas. Here's one of them. Pope Francis says Virgin Mary apparitions are not always real.
Thanks, Pope.
He says this after a statue row. He says He appears to reference a woman who drew pilgrims to a statue near Rome after she claimed it shed tears of blood. So he's like, thinking you full of shit.
That's not the blood.
He said, think that's a Kool-Aid. I don't know why he sounds like Groucho Marx, or he sounds like Chico Marx is what he sounds like.
Yeah.
Thinking you full of shit. Apparitions of the Virgin Mary are not always real, Pope Francis has said, in what appears to be an indirect reference to a woman who drew thousands of pilgrims to a town near Rome to pray before a statue that she claimed shed tears of blood. He says, don't look at there. The pontiff said, he sounds like Father Guido Sarducci now.
Don't look at there.
Don't look at there.
Look over here.
Look at this hand right here. Look at this hand. And now look in this hand. Look, it's a rosary. See?
Look at me. I'm the Pope. Don't look at the statue.
I made a rosary appear in the this hand while you look at the this hand. I learned the magic from David Blaine. He said, don't look at there, the pontiff said during an interview with Rai 1 on Sunday when asked about apparitions of the Virgin Mary. He said, there are images of the Madonna that are real, but the Madonna has never drawn attention to herself, except for that the Madonna in the United States. She draws all of the attention to herself.
I was going to say, she just 2 months ago drew a lot of attention to herself.
Yeah, and even then, Pope Francis didn't like that. He's like, she's a pastor prime. Look at her.
Look at the statue crying the blood. Don't look at the Madonna.
He said, I like to see her with her finger pointing up to Jesus. When Marian
You're my boy, Jesus. You're my boy. Like Virgin Mary turned into a Southern man, but
I know, you're my boy, Jesus. When Marian devotion is too self-centered, the Pope says, it's not good. Oh, so he's saying don't. Oh, he's got a problem. This goes back to the whole Templar thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worship Mary Magdalene, or we get rid of you like we got rid of the Templars.
Yep.
Both in the devotion and in the people who carry it forward, he says. So yeah, don't worship Mary.
You can see the Mary, but you don't worship the Mary.
That's all right. You go to the statue, you say, hey Mary, what's going on? You don't worship at her feet.
No, you look up and say, you're my boy, Jesus.
You're my boy, Jesus. I hit it a home run for you, buddy. That's what you say. The interview was aired a few days after residents in, I believe this is Trevignano, called on Francis to intervene against Maria Giuseppe Scarpula, who's been nicknamed the Saint and Clairvoyant. For 5 years, she has organized monthly ceremonies in a park overlooking Lake Bracciano, where the statue of the Virgin Mary sits in a glass case. The statue was bought by Scarpula, known by her followers as Gisela Cardia, at a Catholic pilgrimage site in, oh boy, what's the name of this? It's in Bosnia. I don't know the name of the town. Upon returning to Italy, she claimed the Madonna made apparitions, wept tears of blood, and was communicating messages to her. Marco Salvi, who's a local bishop last week, urged pilgrims to stop flocking to the site. Stop flocking up my site. On the 3rd of each month, while his diocese investigates the phenomena surrounding the statue, many people prayed before the statue in search of cures for serious illnesses. Scarpula is facing a judicial investigation after a private investigation alleged that the bloodstains on the statue came from a pig, and after some of her followers claimed that they had been scammed. Scarpula, whom in the past had been convicted of bankruptcy fraud, created a foundation through which she collected donations, which she reportedly said would go towards setting up a center for sick children. One man told La Repubblica that he and his wife had donated 106,000 pounds, 123,000 lira, I believe it is, to her foundation. We were both ill. We trusted her. It was a clamorous error, he said. Scarpula fled Treviano in early April. and the Führer only to return a few weeks later. She still hosts the ceremonies, although Saturday's event was reported to be a flop with only a handful of people in attendance. She said last month that she was undeterred by the investigation, as well as an order for the glass case to be demolished. I won't budge an inch because I'm in the house of God and have the Madonna by my side, she went on to say. So there you go.
And I'm trying to make my money back for buying this statue.
That's right. I got to make a money back somehow.
They told me it was the Madonna. I paid for it. I need to make the money back.
You tell her that Pope I got to make him my money somehow. He sit on the mountain of gold over there. Maron.
That's what it is. She's trying to make her money back. She spent a ton of money. She probably spent all that money thinking, oh, I'm going to make all this money with all that. It didn't make all the money she wants. She's like, oh, now I got a Madonna. I don't know what to do with it.
You tell her that Pope, he's made of money. I got no money. That Pope, I got no money. We have the second part of 2 out of 3 of Sarah's stories here on Parashare. So let's play Sarah's story, second part right now. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Here we go.
I liked her first one, so.
Here is Sarah's Parashare story right here on Darkness Radio.
Hey guys, it's me again, Sarah. The building that I work in, I've actually been in that building since 2005. I had worked for a company that was there back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. And then in 2008, I applied for another job, and it turned out to be the same building. So I'm back at the same place. Anyway, I have several experiences just in this building alone. But the first one that happened was when I was working there back in 2002. 2002, yeah. It was way different than it is now. It was a super dark building. It was like a creepy building. Like you could film a horror movie there and not have to do anything. It would be perfect. But I was going out to put an order in the basket, and there was this man standing there. He was wearing like a brown pants and like light brown shirt. It was like an old school like uniform. And he had like gray hair. It was kind of like to his ears about. He's probably in his 50s. And he just looked at me and turned around and walked down the aisle. And I was like, what the hell? Who the hell is that guy? And I walked to follow him, and he was just gone. It was insane. Yeah, that was one of the many things that's happened there. I'm sure I'll think of more. But yeah, there was a driver there who had passed away on the toilet in the back bathroom, and he had actually been there all day before they went to find him. That's a whole nother story in itself, but this wasn't this guy. I confirmed it. This wasn't this guy. Okay.
And that driver who passed away on the toilet is our next story.
Okay.
There's your cliffhanger. So that's coming up in her next Parashare story. So that'll come up.
Her luck getting a job in the same, like she didn't have to change buildings. you know?
Yeah.
Mrs. Bruiser's building that she's currently in, she thinks is haunted.
Really?
A couple people have had some experiences, and I'm trying to get in there to see what I can debunk. And like I already debunked one of them. It was just the air coming on. But there's a couple where it's like, okay. And I keep yelling at her. She doesn't have her phone on her. I'm like, record the video or record it.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I'm so scared. I'm like, don't be scared. Record it.
Just record it. Yeah. It may be nothing. That's for sure. I have an interesting story here about a famous boxer in Argentina who had a Bigfoot sighting.
Oh, okay. In Argentina, huh?
In Argentina.
You don't hear about Bigfoot down there too much.
No, you don't. Argentina's Bigfoot, the Yeti from Salta, terrified a fearless pro boxer. Few athletes are as feared and as fearless as professional boxers. The memories of the best and most brutal fights of Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Joe Louis, Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran, and others are remembered decades later by those who watch them. Even mixed martial artists fear the deadly punching power of boxers. If they're so powerful, who do boxers fear? Well, if you ask former Argentine boxer Angel Armando Pacheco, he might say Kumar Zupai. If you never heard of him, well, that's because Kumar Zupai is not a he, but an it, the Argentine version of Bigfoot. And Pacheco is back in the news this week because he was following up on his alleged 20-minute encounter with one a year ago, believe it or not.
20-minute encounter, okay.
20-minute encounter. Pacheco may have survived physically, but it sounds like he still fears the red eyes that stared into his. It happened in April of 2022. Angel Pacheco, now a farmer, he's now a farmer, using his powerful fists to plant seeds, told El Cronica, I believe it is, about how he came face to face with a Kumar Zupai in the province of La Salta in northwest Argentina, an area with so many sightings of the legendary cryptid that it has been named the Yeti of Salta. The Kumar is often described as looking as a bear with a human face, or like a bear with a human face. But that's not what Pacheco says he saw. He says, when we got to where the dogs were, I saw that they were scared, and they immediately turned around, so I shined my light forward and was terrified when the Kumar was there. It looked like a big hairy gorilla. He was walking slowly. He looked where he was. I was there, and that's when I saw his red eyes. He looked at me and went into the bush. According to El Cronica, the Salta town of Matan, a ground zero for Kumars, there have been reports of at least 33 sightings of the cryptid in this area, filled with hills, rivers, and lagoons. While there are no known photos or videos of the legendary creature, the reports, like Pacheco's, come from people who sound truly terrified by what they saw, going back to the first Salta witness, who is Rogelio Martinez, who reportedly saw one in Matan in 2001. As word spread, the range of the Yeti, if Salta grew wider, as did the... This isn't written very well. It says, as did its alleged powers and characteristics. I don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah.
Besides the red eyes, the 6-foot-tall height, and the human-like face and bearish body, some witnesses claim the Kumar has strong sexual overtones. I feel like I should have the theme out here. And is generally aggressive towards women. When he reported its sighting in 2022, Pacheco said the incident terrified him so much that he no longer went out into the fields at night, even with his dogs. He knew about the Kumar from decades of reports in the area, but the legend actually goes back to at least 1956, when geologist Audio L. Peak found 17-inch long human-like footprints on the Argentinian side of the Andes Mountains at an altitude of over 16,000 feet. In 1957, similar tracks were discovered in La Salta. Then come the reports of cries, haunting calls at night heard by the residents of Tolor Grande that seemed to be coming from the Curicó Mountains. The indigenous people of the area attributed the footprints and cries to the Kumar Zupai, and anthropologist Pablo Latapi Ortega. He said that he heard them from many tales of giant ape men. Outside of Argentina, a group of campers in Rengo, near Santiago, Chile, reported in May of 1958 that they saw an ape man described as being enormous and covered with hair. Pablo Yayat, who is a mammologist or a mammal researcher from Argentina's, I believe it's CONICET, CONICET, which is an anagram, the Mendoza Technological Scientific Center, defended the police and investigators who try to follow up on sightings with little or no physical evidence other than eyewitness reports. That is where Angel Pacheco's sighting was different. He found hair samples caught in a wire fence and gave them to researchers from CONICET. Those researchers, as well as Pacheco and local believers, were hoping to finally identify once and for all the legendary Kumar, which was described in Cirrus Supernaturalis, I can't speak Spanish to save my life, de la Cultural Popular Argentina, or supernatural beings of Argentine popular culture, like this. They say it is also known as Ukumari, Jukumari, or Ukumari. He is the werebear, or werebear, like werewolf.
Yep.
Who is represented in different degrees of hybridization from a short, ugly, and hairy bear with slight humanoid features to a bestial man completely covered in hair with a long beard and a narrow forehead. The Akumar lives in caves at the bottom of the ravines, but it prowls in the rivers and springs, bathing in them. It is therefore easy to find its footprints there, similar to those of a bear. That is far different than a report in Salta from 2021 of a creature described more like a small goblin or a pombero, which is a small human-like creature with hairy feet from Paraguay and other South American countries. The diminutive leprechaunish size of the pombero or goblin doesn't match the big footprints found in Salta. In fact, it sounds more like a small Ukumar shot and killed in Salta in 2010, whose head was sent for testing and was determined to be a monkey.
Okay.
Again, Angel Pacheco described his Akumar as more like a gorilla, not a monkey. Fortunately, he found the hairs in the fence, and after careful analysis, the researchers at Conisets also found something. Scientists determined that it was hair from an Andean bear. Based on the precise data, the specialist delved into the credibility of the testimonies of those who claimed to have seen it, whether it was a direct observation or an indication. The Andean or spectacled bear, I'll get that right, is the only living species of bear native to South America and is often called the Ukumari, which is why most researchers and non-believers think this is what all call Ukumari witnesses see, including people like Angel Pacheco, who swears he knows what a bear looks like, and the creature he saw with glowing red eyes, that made him vomit and raised his blood pressure was no bear. Then what was it, people of Salta? Keep your cell phones charged, then go out for walks or investigate strange noises. You can help Angel Pacheco prove the legendary Ukumar Zapai, the Yeti of Salta, really exists. Now, they have a picture here of what this bear looks like. Would you mistake that for Bigfoot?
No, I've seen those bears before.
Yeah, that's a bear. That's an Andean bear.
But they don't grow to be 6 feet tall. And he said it was 6 feet tall.
Yeah, he said it was 6 feet tall. So,
like, if I saw any creature that's 6 feet tall and hairy and mean looking, I'm going to be afraid of.
Right. Yeah, it wouldn't be something like that. That's for sure. Speaking of things that are not on the up and up and kind of conspiracy theorish, I'm going to put that story off yet another week. I had 20 of the best conspiracy theories out there, so we're going to put that off again another week because of timing issues. Tom sent us in a story about Florida, of course, so we'll talk briefly about it. There's a flesh-eating bacteria lurking in huge seaweed blobs floating near Florida.
Oh, great.
And it's been moving in slowly. Actually, it's been moving in over the past couple of weeks. Scientists are warning people about high amounts of flesh-eating bacteria thriving in the massive seaweed blooms lurking on Florida beaches. If you're in Florida, I wouldn't approach those blooms if I were you. New research from Florida Atlantic University reveals that stinky sargassum, I know it sounds kinky to you and me, seaweed is interacting with plastic debris in the ocean to create a perfect breeding ground for Vibrio vulnificus, which can cause life-threatening infections. Researchers found that these harmful bacteria have a unique ability to stick to microplastics. Our lab work showed that these Vibrio are extremely aggressive and can seek out and stick to plastic within minutes. Dr. Tracy Mincer, who is a lead author on the study and an assistant professor of biology at FAU's Harbor Branch Oceanographic, how do you say that? Oceanographic Institute? Oceanographic? Yeah, like that. Institute and Harriet L. Wilkes Honors College. I can say that. Marine experts raised alarms over these huge sargassum blooms back in March, spanning thousands of miles and coating Florida waters and beaches with brown, unappealing seaweed. Decaying sargassum can also harm ecosystems and cause respiratory issues for humans. Vibro infects people with or through open wounds by eating raw or uncooked seafood. Nearly 1 in 5 people die when infected by the bacteria. That ain't good. That's according to the CDC. Well, sargassum normally facilitates all kinds of ecosystems. Climate change and other environmental factors caused its population to explode over the past decade. I don't think at this point anyone has really considered these microbes and their capability to cause infections, Mincer told reporters. We really want to make the public aware of these associated risks. In particular, caution should be exercised regarding the harvest and processing of sargassum biomass until the risks are explored more thoroughly. So there you go. If you're on the Florida coastline by any chance and you see this stinky seaweed, don't go near it if you can help it.
Don't eat the stinky seaweed. Gotcha.
There you go. There you go. We'll do one more story here before we get to Sarah's last Parashare. How's that sound? Okay. A mysterious species buried their dead and carved symbols 100,000 years before humans.
Really? Okay. So they probably had ceremonies and all that. So these are marked graves, basically.
Yeah. Something like that. Researchers have uncovered evidence that members of a mysterious archaic human species buried their dead and carved symbols on cave walls long before the earliest evidence of burials by modern humans. The brains belong to the extinct species known as Homo naledi. Homo naledi! That sounds like a Jerry Lewis thing. Were around 1/3 the size of a modern human brain. The revelations could change the understanding of human evolution because until now, such behaviors only have been associated with large brain Homo sapiens and Neanderthals. The findings are detailed in 3 studies that have been accepted for publication in the journal eLife, and preprints of the papers are available on that BioR14, I believe. Fossils belonging to Homo naledi were first discovered in the Rising Star cave system in South Africa during excavations in 2013. The cave system is part of South Africa's Cradle of Humankind, a UNESCO World Heritage Site encompassing an area where scientists have found fossils of multiple ancient human ancestor species, remains that are helping to unlock the story of human evolution. Paleoanthropologist and National Geographic explorer in residence, Dr. Lee Berger, and his team of underground astronauts. That's a great album name, too.
Yeah, it is.
Underground Astronaut.
That's a band. That's our backup band. We're the Bruiser and the Cruiser with the Underground Astronauts.
I love it. Have continued their work in the extensive, dangerous caves to better understand the extinct hominids and ancient human ancestors. Now, the research team has discovered the remains of Homo naledi adults and children that were laid to rest in the fetal position within cave depressions and covered with soil. The burials are older than any known Homo sapien burials by at least 100,000 years. During the work to identify the cave burials, the scientists also found a number of symbols engraved on the cave walls, which are estimated to be between 241,000 to 335,000 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when translated, it says, "Here lies Fred. He is dead."
Yeah. Dead, said Fred. But they want to continue their testing to be more precise on dating. And then eventually marriage. No, I'm kidding. The symbols include deeply carved hashtag-like cross-hatchings and other geometric shapes. Hashtag dead, hashtag buried, hashtag don't dig up, hashtag
I don't know it's
curse.
hashtags and that they're trying to play tic-tac-toe.
Oh, that could be too. They were bored.
Yeah.
Similar symbols found in other caves were carved by early Homo sapiens 80,000 years ago and Neanderthals 60,000 years ago, and were thought to have been used as a way to record and share information. These recent findings suggest intentional burials, the use of symbols and meaning-making activities by Homo naledi. It seems an inevitable conclusion that in combination they indicate that this small-brain species of ancient human relatives was performing complex practices related to death, said Berger, the lead author on 2 of the studies and co-author on the 3rd, in a statement. That would mean not only are humans not unique in the development of symbolic practices, but may not even have invented such behaviors.
And the thing is, like, they dug a hole. How smart could they be? Babies dig holes. Puppies dig holes. They dug a hole. That's not intricate. You know what I mean?
My chipmunk digs holes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I'm sure if we give your chipmunk a pencil, he'd draw a hashtag. Because it's 4 lines.
I'm going to try it this afternoon.
Do it.
Yeah. I'm going to give Wicked a pencil and see what he does. He'll probably chew it, but, you know.
But while chewing it, he might draw something.
You never know. It could happen. I'm just saying it could happen.
I agree.
It's time for our third and last Parashare from Sarah.
This is about the guy in the toilet.
Yeah, when last we left Sarah, she was talking about a dead trucker on a toilet.
After chasing an unknown man down an aisle.
That's right. Let's tune in now. Let's tune in now to find out what happened with that dead trucker on the toilet. Here's Sarah.
Hello. Okay, I'm sorry about the driver. I actually started working there in 2002, not 2005. But another thing that happened there was I was in one of the offices, and one of our customers, she would send her orders in by cassette tape. So you would have to listen to the cassette tape and like write out all the stuff she wanted. So I was doing that, and I always kept one ear off of my headphones because I was there by myself during lunch. And a lot of times you would hear footsteps above you. Everyone was gone. There would be murmuring. You could hear, and I still hear that to this day. I'll hear conversations in the other room when there's nobody there, and you just hear like the mumbling. You don't hear any actual words. But this time, anyway, I was listening to her order, and I had to stop the tape. I stopped the tape, took the headphones off, and I was hearing a baby crying. It was a baby crying its ass off, and the sound was just coming. There was no certain place where it was coming from. It was insane. It was very creepy. I was 22, 23 at the time. 22. I was like 22 at the time. So I wasn't a mom yet. So I'm sure it would creep me out a lot more now that I am a mom, but it was still pretty creepy. That building is insane. I've heard my name. I've had things move on their own. It's just a crazy, creepy building. But yeah, thanks.
Okay, so to clarify for everybody, in the background on Sarah's 3 files, you hear what I believe is a cat. So I don't want letters from people saying, "Oh my God, I think Sarah's possessed. I think the devil is behind her." Tim, you need to rewind those files and listen intently. I think the devil is chasing her. Nope, I think it's a cat. I think it's just a purring cat.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to waste my time doing that.
That last story, for some reason, anytime I am doing an investigation and I hear crying, like a baby crying, it creeps me out. And I don't know why. It's just, that's the one sound that I hear, and it chills me to the bone. Yeah. So I know exactly what she, what she's talking about,
Oh, yeah. When you hear it in the middle of a haunted asylum, it drives you nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's for sure. That's for sure. If you have a Parashare story that you'd like to share with us, you can send it by email, tim@darknessradio.com. Folks, don't send it to me on social media. I just ask that because here's the deal. And it's, you may think it's picky or finicky. I keep it all on a file. And I take your email, I automatically put it in a file, and then I bring it up on Parashare Day. If you send it to me via my messaging on social media, I don't always remember to transfer it over. So I don't want to forget your file. That's the thing. I don't want to forget your story. And a lot of times I'm scrambling on show day. So I don't want to forget your story. I want to be able to air it, because then I got 1,000 things going on, and I don't want you to come back to me and go, "Hey, remember I sent you that on social media?" And I'll go, "Oh yeah, that's right." And yeah, I don't want to be the dumbass who forgot your file because you sent it to me on social media. So send it to me on email, tim@darknessradio.com, because I don't want to be the dumbass. That's the thing. Not you, me. And then if you want to send it to us like Sarah did, voice note, which is really easy. You just go to darknessradioshow.com. You click on that blue button that's on the right-hand side. You have 2 minutes to leave us a voice note. Please do that. We'd appreciate that as well. And then we can play your lovely voice right here on the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love hearing from our listeners.
That's right. I love hearing your voice, love hearing your stories. And please send us your voice notes or your emails. We appreciate your stories. Let's move on here. We have 2 stories left here, Bruiser, on today's show. You told us a wonderful story yesterday, Bruiser, on Dumb Crimes, Stupid Criminals, about a new way to make pizza.
Yeah, I actually got a message from a listener that said they loved that story, and it's not a story. It truly happened.
Well, we have a new way to bury yourself.
Oh, okay.
Involving mushrooms. That's exactly it. Mushroom coffins.
Really?
Yeah, they're the latest green burial trend. I don't know if they're psychedelic mushrooms.
Well, dead bodies don't need the trip, do they?
I think I may.
That would be weird if you came to a party with mushrooms that were grown on a dead body.
Oh, okay. Now you got me weirded out.
Like, hey, Tim, these are mushrooms. You want to trip with me? And you're like, yeah. I'll be like, oh yeah, they're from good old Gus. He passed away in 1960, and they buried him in mushrooms, and
they were grown out of his ashes, dude.
Yeah.
Chomp away. Ew. The struggle to make eco-friendly choices doesn't end with death, evidently. According to the Green Burial Council, the carbon footprint of a traditional burial is roughly equal to a 300-mile car trip.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
As awareness around this issue grows, innovators are coming up with creative alternatives like mushroom coffins that are built to break down.
That's kind of like the tree one too, right?
I think so, yeah.
Buried within the tree, feeds off you and grows.
Yeah. Again, you and I have shared this phobia. Is that a good thing for a while?
Yeah.
Bone soup?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to think about it. Yeah, just becoming bone soup. As the Associated Press reports, a Dutch company called Loop Biotech. I almost read that as Loop Biatch. I don't know why, but my eyes, because it's
Loop Biatch.
That's right, because it's in orange. I looked at it and I went, Loop Biatch. Takes a sustainable approach to the business of death. One of their most popular items is the Loop Living Cocoon, which just sounds like a death trap to me. To make it, they combine mycelium, the thread-like root network of mushrooms, with hemp fiber. Ooh, we all going to get high in the afterlife. Yeah. In a sarcophagus-shaped mold. Okay. It takes roughly a week for the fungal matter to take the shape of a person's final resting place. Interesting. Though it's sturdy enough to hold a cadaver, the living cocoon isn't designed with longevity in mind. It starts to decompose once it enters the ground, and in just 6 weeks, Bruiser, the coffin and its contents are reduced to compost.
Wait, even your body, like the cadaver is too?
Yeah.
In 6 weeks?
6 weeks.
At least the tree thing takes years.
Yeah.
6 weeks are just goo.
Yeah. For comparison, conventional wooden caskets can take decades to fully degrade. I'll take the decades, thank you.
Yeah, me too. Especially if there's a zombie apocalypse coming up.
Yep. A mushroom coffin from Loop Biotech costs 995 euros, which comes out to roughly 1,067 US dollars. See, I'm nervous even reading this. Customers interested in cremation can also purchase a biodegradable urn that doubles as a sapling planter for about 212 US dollars.
Yeah, but if I'm getting cremated, I'm sure my family wants me around.
True, yeah. Loop Biotech ships its products all over Europe, but is especially popular in the northern part of the continent. Clients in the U.S., where green burials are slowly becoming legal, will hope to have mushroom coffins become more widely available in their lifetime. So there you go. Mushroom
Good for those guys. If you want to help the planet, go ahead. But I'm going to just be gaseous and gooey all over the place.
Gaseous and gooey. That's the name of our new album, Gaseous and Gooey. Yep. And finally, our final story, we're going to end it on a up note. End it on an up note. I can't talk anymore. I just, we killed off a cast member today. It's just
we're grieving.
We're grieving. We're having
He's
a tough
in a mushroom
time.
Casket now.
Yeah. Let's ask him if he'd like that. Hey, Samuel L., would you like a mushroom casket?
I'm not sure.
He's not sure.
He's not sure. Yeah,
No.
He's not sure. He's like us. He's like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Samuel L., where will you go when you die? Oh, fuck. He just blinked out.
He just killed himself. Yeah.
He's like, boom.
I'm dead now.
He's self-destructed, man.
Yeah.
Damn, son. All right, I'll read this last story.
Goodbye, Samuel.
Yeah, goodbye, Yellow Brick Road, buddy. All right, our last story has to do with, you know how people see things in potato chips?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you see Jesus in toast or the Cheeto.
Yeah.
Jesus in a Cheeto.
Yeah.
Well, one mom has spotted Michael Jackson's face in a lamppost. This actually happened. I think it's in Ohio, if I remember right. But others are pointing out a creepy detail in the lamppost as well.
I don't want to go there. I was going to say the child next to it.
Oh,
but
no,
I'm not going to go there. He was acquitted. So
yeah, the fact that he's groping a kid. Jennifer Johnson Vogel immediately noticed the face of Michael Jackson looking back at her.
Which face?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because he had, 4 through the years?
Was it 4? Let's see. There's the kid. There's the
Thriller.
No. There's probably 5 because there's the kid. There's the face as he was becoming a teenager. There's the Ben.
That's the acne face, right?
The Ben phase. The Ben phase.
Okay. Yep.
Then you have the off the wall phase. You remember the off the wall face?
Yeah, you're right. Yep. Mm-hmm. Then the thriller face.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the bad face.
Right.
And then
the
death.
No, not the death.
The completely made up white guy.
Yeah.
Face. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good question. Which face is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you could put a picture of just any of those faces, and everyone would go, "Oh, that's Michael Jackson." Okay, yep, that's Michael Jackson.
Right. So she sees Michael Jackson on a lamppost, but some fans spotted an ominous detail. Dear God, I'm having a problem here. A mom was left shocked when she spotted the face of a very famous celeb at the bottom of a lamppost. Jennifer Johnson Vogel of Cincinnati, Ohio, had been passing the lamppost when she instantly noticed the outline of a figure on the base. She claims it looks exactly like Michael Jackson, with chips in the black paint creating a shape resembling the late Beat It singer who died in 2009. The black and white shape appeared to show the King of Pop's trademark long hair and sunglasses. Okay, so this is obviously post-bad?
Yep.
Okay.
This is
black and white or black or white?
Black and white, yep.
Okay. All right.
Or history.
It could be.
Yeah.
Black or white or history, sure.
Yeah.
It shows his trademark long hair and sunglasses, and others agreed it was definitely Michael Jackson on the lamppost. Okay? Sharing a snap of her find to the Facebook group Things with Faces, Jennifer wrote, "Please tell me someone else sees Michael Jackson on the light pole base." Comments were flooded with hundreds of people who were also convinced they could easily make out the Thriller singer. Some even claimed they didn't even have to read Jennifer's caption before spotting Michael themselves. One person said, "I didn't read the post. I saw MJ right away." Another commented, "I'll be honest, after I read it, I did an eye roll, but when I looked, I immediately saw him." A third added, "Definitely looks like Michael Jackson." One commenter said they could see the singer's entire body, writing, "I know MJ when I see him. Check him out." He also has his shades, or has on his shades. His lips are even visible, as well as the decor on his outfit. Long live the king. Others claimed it looked like he was moonwalking and dancing. But
How were
dozens
his lips visible when they weren't even visible when he was alive?
I have no idea. But dozens of members of the group were also quick to point out a creepy element of the figure. You ready for this?
Yeah.
One asked, is he holding a knife?
Yes, he is.
A second person agreed he appeared to be holding some sort of sharp object, adding, oh, shoot, he's got a knife. That's not a knife. This is a knife. Someone else even joked, looks like he's holding a machete or a machete. Hee. Another quipped, smooth criminal with that knife.
There you go.
But while many agreed that they could clearly see Michael Jackson, some thought the figure resembled other celebs and characters. Looks more like Diana Ross, one commenter pointed out. Oh, God, that's an old joke. Another said...
a very old joke,
yeah.
But still funny.
Still funny. Another said, I was thinking more like Frenchie out of Greece. Oh, no. While a third added, my wife sees Chucky with a knife. God. Let me see if I can get this blown up big enough for you to see this. Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. Here, I can get this big enough. There you go. I know, right?
Yeah. I don't see Michael Jackson at all.
What do you see?
I just see chips on a thing. I'm bad at these.
If I back it up like this?
I see the Punisher logo.
See the Punisher logo? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I see. I see the Punisher logo.
Where do you see the Punisher logo? See, I see Michael when I see it. I'll show you where I see. Can you see? Okay, so you can see.
I can see, yep.
Okay, so there's the shades. There's the head. Oop,
yeah.
Okay. This looks like he might be peeing, but that's the knife.
What if he's holding his wang in his hand?
That could be. He could be exposing himself to children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I still see the Punisher logo.
you do? Really?
Yeah. The old one, not the new one.
Yeah, the old one. Well, I can. Okay, by the way, it's chipped out. Okay,
Yeah.
The head with the base of the skull. I get it, but
Yep.
I
That's
just
what I
don't. I just don't see the other eye. That's the thing. Okay,
Yep.
but yeah, to me, it almost looks like he could be holding his wang.
It's Michael Jackson holding his wang.
That's a big wang, though.
Well,
Yeah.
surgically enhanced.
Surgically enhanced. Good God, I tell you. Good God, I tell you. That'll do it for today's Supernatural News. Tomorrow on the show, Paul Blake Smith is with us. We'll be talking about President Eisenhower and his pact with aliens in order to, well, let's just call it like we see it, in order to settle down the country and basically come to an understanding with them because he was overwhelmed. He supposedly met aliens at an Air Force base while on a golfing trip and was so overwhelmed by these things that he said, you know what, we just need to make some sort of an agreement. That's the first part of the program. Second part of the program has to do with Richard Nixon taking Jackie Gleason to an Air Force base while, another coincidence, on a golfing trip, and tells Gleason, hey, you want to see alien bodies? I'll show you alien bodies, and shows him 4 dead alien bodies.
So when everybody was saying that they were complaining about George W. Bush, doing all those golfing trips, he was really just visiting aliens.
Could be.
'Cause that sounds like code for alien visits.
Now you're picking up something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard the interview yet, so.
And funny, a lot of presidents have played a lot of golf.
Exactly.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
The alien's like,
Just say you're playing golf.
Yep.
Everyone will believe you play golf.
That's right. That's right.
And if they see us, we're your caddies.
That's right. So, yeah, playing golf is a euphemism for something else. So that's on tomorrow's show.
nice.
Paul Blake Smith, our guest. Got anything going on for the weekend?
No, I'm taking the weekend off, getting ready for my busy The last half of June is super busy for me as I get ready for surgery on the 29th. And I don't know if I'm wrapping up my wrestling career or what. I don't know what the future holds for me because I don't know what my body will be able to do. So I packed it full the second half. And some really big shows coming up. And I'm going to leave it all in the ring. If it is my last hurrah, I'm going to go out with a bang.
Put the best intentions out there and you'll get the best in return.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I plan on I'm still going to be involved in wrestling some way because I've been producing shows and obviously training every Monday and Wednesday at the AML Training Center. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'll still be involved in wrestling. It's just, will the new hip be able to hold up to what I demand of it?
Yeah, and will you be able to do the occasional match? Obviously, you're not going to come back full time.
Yeah, no, full time's off the table. I knew that right away.
Yeah. But much like Rhino and other guys like that, they do the occasional match.
Yep. Yeah. So not right and all, but if it is, I'm going out my way, going out the way I want to go out.
There you go.
And I'll still be involved in it.
And that's
it's in my DNA. And I'm happy. How about this?
Okay.
I'm happy with the way I have it set up right now. Where if it is the last, I can look back and go, I did it. I had a good career. I did everything I wanted in my body. I've done more than I expected. I've met great people along the way. I've developed some awesome friendships. And if this is the last hurrah, I'm with one of my best friends because Malonis and I are tagging for one last time. And I'm going out the way I want to go out instead of, some guys don't get that.
That's true.
So,
that's very true. Yeah.
I've learned how to put a positive spin on it. And I don't know what the future holds. I'm going to stay positive about the future, and we'll see what happens.
There you go. I have nothing going on this weekend other than a whole lot of prepping for next week.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm hanging out with the chipmunk this weekend. That's what I'm doing.
I'm hanging out with the puppies, so.
Yeah. So I'll be probably hanging out outside, reading a book. It's probably what's going on. And, hanging out with the chipmunk.
I'll be outside, too.
I can't believe my life has degraded to that. I mean,
I like when it's me and the pups and Mrs. Bruiser sitting outside and watching the pups chase the squirrels. And Talia finally got to meet Tank the other day. That was really funny.
Oh, really?
Her and Ziggy were playing, and Tank had made his way over, and Ziggy's ears perked up because that's her old friend. And Talia was cowering behind Ziggy, but still being still growling and barking, but sitting right behind Ziggy because it's her big sister. And Ziggy's like, no, this is great. We can play with them. Like, let's go play. Tank saw Ziggy. Ziggy took a step, and Tank took off back under the shed.
Aw.
Ziggy looked at me. I'm like, sorry, you're too big. It's nice you being this big.
Yeah, can't get used to it. They don't know no better.
Nope.
That's for sure. Yeah, Wicket today was a very interesting character. He's figured out how to climb up into birdhouses now and get seeds out of the birdhouse. So but now he's burying seeds in the birdhouse, which I don't think he gets. That they'll find him there. So I don't know. He
comes back. Where the hell did all my seeds go?
Yeah, I gotta have a talk with him. He's smart, but he's some of his logic doesn't fit. So
yeah,
we'll have to have a little talk over the weekend and just And then he hasn't figured out yet that when you bury your sunflower seeds, you got to come get them right away because he has this little garden growing in the mulch of plants, and he's digging up, and he's like, where are all my sunflower seeds? And he's doing this in a garden of new sunflowers.
So, I know I left my seeds here somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he did. He was like, where's my sunflowers? Where are my sunflower seeds? And among all these new sunflowers. So I just sat and laughed at him.
You should comment on his beautiful garden.
Yeah. I said, hey, that's a nice garden you got there, buddy. Wonder how that happened. Maybe if you didn't leave your shit around. Yeah, but he didn't get it. So I said, maybe you should get your shit out of there quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't leave that there all spring. Otherwise, we're going to have big old flowers. And I'm going to yank them out of the ground before that.
Someone's gonna be like, "Hey, Tim, I like the landscape you did there. Who's your gardener?" Oh, it's my chipmunk Wicket.
It's a chipmunk. I'll send him over to your place. He'll do the same thing. Just funny. So tomorrow, Paul Blake Smith here on the program. We're talking aliens, and we're talking presidential moves with aliens. That's coming up tomorrow. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for listening to this program. We love you. We appreciate you. And tune in tomorrow for the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio.